you want to be able to look at the RCR, no, or RL Commercial REIT Inc. or RCR for short, for what it is, no. And you mentioned earlier, no, that in our case we are poised, no, to become the largest in terms of market capitalization, 7.27 billion, and of course the asset, no, you've probably known about this. We have the largest also, no, with 14 assets, 425,000 square meters. And you also mentioned that it's very wide, no, in terms of the geographical coverage, no, the widest geographical coverage over 9 cities, no, very compelling, no, all of these things. And to add to that, we also have the longest land lease tenure. So if you look at the quality, it's really very compelling, no. So I think this value proposition is very difficult to resist.
And also to add to what Jericho has said, no, large is actually an advantage because being poised to be the largest REIT offering, it will entice foreign funds to and local institutions to invest in our company.
Can you tell us a little more about the dividend policy on this?
Well, REITs, no, in general, people buy REITs because of because of its dividends, and REITs, what people as should understand, there's a steady stream of income as the company is required by law to distribute at least 90% of its income to its investors through dividends. So number one, there's dividends, and in our leases for our office leases, there's a built-in escalation rates of about 3 to 5%, which aside from the dividends on an annual basis, the dividends will grow through the escalation. And number three is through asset infusion. The REIT won't be the size it is now. That there's a clear path in terms of RCR to infuse at least one or two or assets in the next 18 months, as stated in our REIT plan.
Now, the property sector was heavily hit by the pandemic, and yet here you are presenting to investors to invest in real estate. So, what's the outlook on that? I mean, people like me. I mean, I've been to the office only at least I think once or twice just to get stuff, and anchor the State of the Nation address special coverage of Rappler. But other than that, that's it. I think only our guard and some staff that get their stuff or belongings in the office, but we don't really spend our time in the office.
Yeah, Ralph, maybe to answer that question, globally, there have been a lot of changes happening, no? In countries that have really been very successful in their vaccination efforts. You can see that people are already going to restaurants without masks, and they're already going back to work. You know what's very interesting here? I think in the Philippines, no, 2 weeks ago or maybe a week and a half ago, we've had continuous rain. We've had continuous rain, no, and there were a lot of complaints, no, in terms of power outages, in terms of internet not being available, and these people, no, or the employees who are working from home had to continue to deliver the service, no. So that's why I think the sense of urgency, no, for companies to want to get back to work, and they were saying, help us naman, help us to be able to vaccinate, no. If there are spaces, we will follow health protocols, and we can create micro herd immunities, no, within the offices. So these are very compelling reasons. I even attended a webinar, no, or a conference, virtual conference, and a lot of the MNCs who were attending were saying that it's been very challenging, no? The lack of social interaction has really taken on a toll in terms of mental health. So, the sooner that everybody can go back to the workplace, go back to normal, better for all of us, no? So I think there's really that big push, and the key here is really vaccination, no? So a successful vaccination that creates immunity, herd immunity.
Okay, let's talk about tenants. You mentioned earlier
Yeah.
most are from the IT BPM. What about the others? I mean, IT-BPM
Yep.
is how many percent? And what are the
Correct.
others? Do you have POGOs?
Well, first of all, I think when you include the traditional, no, the corporates, even the flexible workspaces, that already brings you to the 90% level. No, I think what is also important to emphasize here, no, in terms of Pogo, we are probably one of the we have the lowest concentration of Pogo in our portfolio. No, less than 3%, below 3%. So again, the focus is really on BPO, IT-BPM, and we've established very good relationships with them, and they continue to grow with us. So I think definitely that is the right path for us moving forward.
Hmm. But let me just push it a little further on Pogos, no? Kasi I reported a couple of weeks ago that Pogos are in for a revenge comeback in the Philippines. So are you guys looking at that as an opportunity?
I think we're really so focused on the IT BPM sector, and the truth of the matter is they continue to grow, no? Especially those that are in healthcare, data analytics, and truth be told, no, there are more businesses coming in, no? I mean, I'm pretty sure you've heard about data centers, logistics centers, fulfillment centers. They continue to grow, no, and we continue to grab market share, no, with regard to those particular sectors, no, of space occupiers. So we're quite focused, and we're very committed to the IT BPM sector. And maybe just to add a little bit more flavor to it, once the IT, no, or the BPO, they come back to the offices, it actually generates more or less a 5 times multiplier effect, no, in terms of providing jobs for retailers, food vendors, transport providers, even the medical or health professionals, and of course, housing. No, so that's why BPO sector very critical and very important, not just for RCR but also for our country. It's all about nation building.